who was partners with L.A. Reid and Babyface in Atlanta, and these guys had this competitiveness. L.A. had a girls group. I bet you don't know who his lead singer was.
No.
Pink.
Oh.
She's the exact same age as Beyonce, and there used to be this battle which group was better. You had Usher, he was the same age. They were all 14 and 15 years old living in Atlanta.
Trainers have been training older artists to lie and say they were as much as 10 years younger than they were. It's all to sell you records, to sell you a...
Hey Beehive, how old is your queen? No one really knows her exact age, except maybe her close family or people who were once close to the family, such as her stepfather Richard Lawson. Recently, Beyoncé has been receiving attention after her parents reportedly made questionable comments about her age recently in media. Her PR team has been strongly responding to people involved and trying to control the situation. Some leaked documents have led to claims that there may be confusion or possible issues about her reported age. But it could also just be a coincidence, and nothing is fully confirmed yet at this time. We will look into it further in this discussion.
Yeah.
Now, Beyonce was born in 1981. I don't know how that picture of her standing up almost hip high to her mother happened. Like I said, it was the largest infant I ever seen in my life.
Lying about age in Hollywood is not something new. It has been talked about for many years, and different people in the entertainment industry have done it for different reasons. Some people change or hide their real age because they want to appear younger. In an industry that often focuses heavily on youth and appearance, being seen as younger can sometimes bring more opportunities, more roles, and more attention. Others may do it to protect their privacy or avoid sharing personal details with the public. Another major reason people discuss this topic is ageism, which is a real issue in Hollywood. Ageism means people are treated differently or unfairly because of their age. This affects many actors and performers, especially women, who often feel pressure to stay young in the eyes of the public. Because of this pressure, some celebrities have been accused in the past of adjusting their ages. For example, there have been public discussions about certain stars being open about changing their birth years for career reasons, while others have been more private or unclear about it. In the entertainment world, some celebrities have even admitted to age changes later on. In a few cases, performers explained that they adjusted their age early in their careers to fit industry expectations. However, the key difference people often point out is honesty. When someone admits it openly, fans may accept it more easily. But when there is confusion or denial, it can create rumors and debates online. Recently, similar conversations have appeared around Beyoncé, where some online discussions and claims suggest there is confusion about her reported birth year. According to public information, she is widely believed to have been born in 1981, which would make her 44 years old today. However, certain claims have circulated online suggesting that some documents or records may point to a different birth year, such as 1974. This would create a significant age difference of about 7 years. It is important to note that these claims are not confirmed facts, but rather part of online speculation and debate. In situations like this, information can spread quickly on social media, especially when people are already interested in celebrity lives. Once a topic starts trending, many different interpretations, theories, and opinions can appear, making it harder to separate fact from rumor. The discussion becomes even more intense because of how it could affect other parts of her public story. For example, people online have speculated that if the older birth year were true, it would change the timeline of certain personal and professional events in her life. This is one of the reasons why the topic has gained attention, even though nothing has been officially confirmed. At one point, reports also mentioned confusion around official records, with some claims suggesting documents were questioned or later disputed. However, these situations are often complex, and official agencies sometimes clarify or correct information when errors or misunderstandings happen. This can add even more uncertainty when people try to figure out what is true. As the conversation grew online, some fans began looking back at old interviews and public appearances to find possible clues. One example often mentioned involves actress Gabrielle Union. In an interview, she spoke warmly about her longtime friendship with Beyoncé, saying they had known each other since they were teenagers. This comment led some people online to try to compare their ages and timelines to see if everything aligned. At the time of the interview, Gabrielle Union was in her mid-30s, and she is now in her 50s. Because of this, some online users calculated an expected age gap between her and Beyoncé and tried to match it with the idea that they were teenagers together. This led to further debate, with some people saying the timeline makes sense and others arguing that memories and wording in interviews can sometimes be general or misinterpreted. Another moment that people bring up comes from promotional interviews during Beyoncé's career, where a public figure mentioned attending the same school environment or being in the same circles during their youth. These kinds of comments are often shared online and re-examined later, especially when fans are trying to piece together celebrity history. However, school memories and timelines can also be confusing, especially when people are referring to different years, programs, or overlapping social groups. Overall, the discussion around Beyoncé's age has become part of a larger pattern seen in celebrity culture, where small details can turn into big online debates. In many cases, these conversations are fueled more by curiosity and speculation than by confirmed evidence. While people continue to talk about it, there has been no official confirmation of any wrongdoing, and much of the discussion remains based on rumors, interpretations, and social media theories rather than verified facts.
I remember her, small school, I remember her passing through the hallways, and I mean, she was stunning. She was just a stunning woman. But she would sing, I think, during the hallways and walking by. And I just remember, and I'm not just saying this, but I remember saying, wow, that girl is something. And I didn't really know much about her because we didn't have classes and she was in a different art area. I was a theater major. But she stood out. And then years later in college, one of my other good friends called me and said, open your yearbook and look at whatever page, because I didn't put Destiny's Child was already a big deal.
Right.
I just didn't make the connection because she looked so different. And so for 2 years, I'm Bills, all of these songs that I thought were great. I didn't even make the connection that she went to my high school.
According to Richard Lawson, the situation became even more complicated because Beyoncé's mother, Tina, has made statements that appear to contradict other details. Tina once said she took Beyoncé to the Jacksons' Triumph Tour when she was only 3 years old. She described it as a very important moment because it was when Beyoncé first felt inspired and realized she was meant for the stage and performing in front of big audiences.
When Beyoncé was 3, I took her to the Triumph Tour with Michael Jackson and his brothers.
Wow.
And my friend said, well, if you go to this certain area at the Astrodome, he's gonna come out that way. So I had her out there. It was a group of about 20 people. He walks over, tries to grab her. And she loved him so much, she was just overwhelmed as kids do, and she just started crying, and she wouldn't go to him. But what are the odds of that?
Wow.
And she said then, I'm gonna be like Michael Jackson. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Look at her now.
Look at her now, and I just think that that's how fate and God work.
The only issue with this story is that the tour Tina mentioned happened in 1981. If Beyoncé was born that same year, then the timeline does not really match up. However, to look at it from another angle, it is possible that memories from many years ago are not always completely accurate. Tina is known for being a lively and expressive speaker, and it is easy for small details to become mixed up over time. Some people suggest that she may have been referring to the Jacksons' Victory Tour in 1984 instead. If that is the case, Beyoncé would have been about 3 years old at the time, which would fit the story much better. It is also important to remember that this interview happened decades after the events she was describing. When people talk about things from so long ago, it is natural for certain details to become unclear or slightly incorrect. However, the idea that these memories might simply be fuzzy becomes more questioned when other people connected to the industry say similar things. For example, Matthew Knowles has also been mentioned in connection with mixed or unclear statements about timelines. In one radio interview, he spoke about Beyoncé competing in the same era as artists like Pink and Usher. He described a situation where Beyoncé, Pink, and Usher were all around the same age and trying to break into the music industry at the same time. But this has raised questions because both Usher and Pink are actually older than Beyoncé. Because of this, some people feel the timeline does not fully align, while others believe it could simply be a misunderstanding or a general way of speaking rather than exact historical detail.
Partners with L.A. Reid and Babyface in Atlanta. These guys had this competitiveness. L.A. had a girls group. I bet you don't know who his lead singer was.
No.
Pink.
Oh.
She's the exact same age as Beyonce, and there used to be this battle which group was better. You had Usher, he was He was the same age. They were all 14 and 15 years old living in Atlanta.
When it comes to the Carters, it is often difficult to know what is true and what is just rumor, because they are constantly surrounded by speculation. Over the years, some of these rumors have turned out to be completely false, while others have made people question what is really going on behind the scenes. There have also been claims involving people close to the family, including Beyoncé's former stepfather, Tina's ex-husband. According to some online discussions, he has allegedly spoken negatively about the family in private and shared details about their personal lives. Some of these claims suggest that things like Beyoncé's public image, her age, and even her marriage to Jay-Z are not as simple as they appear. However, none of this has ever been officially confirmed. Because of these repeated discussions, many people on the internet believe there is something unusual going on. Some argue that when multiple individuals at different times make similar kinds of claims, it becomes harder to dismiss everything as a coincidence. Supporters of this idea say it raises questions, while others strongly disagree and believe it is just gossip spreading online without real proof. There are also older stories that fans bring up again, including claims that her father once came close to revealing private information during a behind-the-scenes moment on MTV many years ago. According to these stories, people around him tried to stop him when he mentioned something related to a birthday or personal detail. Still, these accounts are not verified, and they are mostly based on online memory and retelling. Because of all this, some people go as far as saying they would not be surprised if certain rumors about Beyoncé were true, while others completely reject that idea. A few even suggest that celebrities in general are often misunderstood or turned into characters by the industry, similar to how actors play roles in films. These thoughts are usually based on personal opinion rather than solid evidence. In the end, opinions remain divided. Some viewers believe there is more to the story, while others think it is all exaggerated by the internet. What do you think about these claims?